Gucci? I bet.
Yo, what up, y'all?
Yo.
Another episode, Stay Dangerous Podcast.
Yes, sir.
At it again.
Glad to be back.
How you feeling, bro?
Feeling excellent, bro. I'm feeling amazing. Feel like I got like game day jitters and shit. You know
Oh,
what I'm
yeah?
saying? Yeah. I was
Back in the
crib.
lab?
yeah. Back in the stew, you know what I'm saying?
Word.
Like, it's just like rap shit, nigga. Come in the stew, record. I love hearing it back. We've been getting the feedback from it.
Yeah, man. Thank y'all.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's been love.
Nah, I gotta send like a special shout out to like just like niggas back home and shit, or people that's just been rocking with me, really supporting almost everything I do, from when I'm running the studio to ever since any business I'm on, niggas
Serial entrepreneur.
yeah. Serial entrepreneur shit. You know what I'm saying? Whatever I'm on, it's niggas I ain't talk to, that I don't talk to, that's just, we know each other from back home type shit, that gonna share everything, show me love on everything, always show their support. So I was really shout out to y'all, and shout out to the dudes that's been listening since episode 1, and the homies that's just tapping in right now. It's a pleasure to ride with y'all. Yeah, and the women, for sure. Like, everybody that's rocking with us and on this journey with us, yo, is love, for sure.
Yo, honestly, I think, man, the feedback has been crazy. Just same as you. People that I don't speak to, don't even think would listen, may not even think they're the demo, but just checked it out and been rocking.
Yeah.
Man, thank you.
Appreciate all
of
and giving
it.
Like that real feedback, and like really like, oh shit, like this is necessary. I had some crazy DMs off this shit.
Yeah, no,
you know
man. Some of the responses been crazy.
Yeah, word.
And I think we both, speak for both of us, but we take that not responsibility in a bad way, but we take it seriously, you know what I mean, the impact that it's been having, and want to be good stewards of it, and we, vow to do that.
For sure. 100%.
Today, gotta get into something, man, super important.
Word.
It's gonna be another 2-parter, by the way. So, this is too much to capture in 45 minutes. We want to stay true to that 45 minutes for now. But one of the things we've been talking about a lot, just in our own conversation, is our relationship with our parents. And whether it's repairing it, whether it's rebuilding it, whether it's maintaining it, it starts with most of us with a forgiveness of some sort. And how do we get to that forgiveness? How do we get to that understanding, as you were saying, kind of maybe comes before forgiveness? And how do we learn to see our parents as people, complete human beings, and not just our moms and our dads?
Yeah, and I really want to even just start out on this subject by really saying a big catalyst, or a big contributing factor, I'd say, and really eye-opening my relationships with my parents, is knowing a lot of people. I know so many people that have lost a parent, but in particular their father. And I mean, that's a conversation for another day. But and just, I know so many people that have lost a parent and their fathers, and it really opened my eyes on that shit, to like, I need to get right, because I know what those people would give just to hug their dad one more time, just to see their dad one more time. And we do so much throughout the day-to-day that we kind of just take our parents always there.
Yeah.
Mom and dad always there, but it's like, boy, they gone like that shit get real.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So seeing how that affects different people, and all the homies, you know what I'm saying? I'm really speaking to y'all on this, and God bless y'all, and if y'all ever need to speak on something, but know that it hasn't gone unnoticed on my part. I see how it affects them, you know what I'm saying? So it really opened my eyes into, I'm gonna make shit right with my pops, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna love my pops all the time. I'm gonna hug them. When my pops go out, there's gonna be nothing left untouched with the shit. And forgive me if I take like deep pauses and breaths on this episode. It's just me, like, cause this shit made me emotional. So you know what I'm saying? But I don't.
You ain't gotta apologize to nobody for that.
Yeah.
I think we kind of set the stage for that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But at the same time, just for viewership purposes and shit, I don't want to be on here crying up a storm and shit like that on that. But
But I think one of the things you said in episode 1, if you haven't checked it out, go do that.
Word.
But one of the things you said in episode 1 is like, why do we always have to apologize? Nobody apologizes when they laugh.
I did. You're right. But I will let y'all know in advance, though. I will be taking some breaths and kind of composing myself. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I stopped saying, or try to reformulate, instead of apologize if I do that. Thank you for understanding when I do that. Because it will happen.
Yeah.
So I mean, you talked about your pops. I mean, you want to get into that? What What's your relationship with your dad now?
And my relationship with my dad now is probably best it's ever been. You know what I'm saying? It's just, or best it's ever been since a boy. You know what I'm saying? Young nigga shit. Before I could get into, I'll kind of I want to give you guys, obviously we always kind of give our personal stories so to hope people can grab things from those. So I'll give you guys kind of personal stories to overcome turmoil, to overcome a lot of things in the father, specifically the father-son dynamic, to show how I came to understand my pops, how I came to forgive my pops for a lot of things that I've realized that I was looking at him crazy for, it. I was holding mad resentment for, and it just having us at odds. Me and my pops, probably at the age of 25 or 26, we had a big incident and it led to us not speaking for 4 years. You know what I'm saying? And
Wow.
yeah.
4 years, that's a long time, bro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and when you were in that, sorry to cut you off, but
No,
just for context, when you were in that 4 years, did it feel comfortable?
No, it didn't feel, it felt comfortable in the sense of,
like, did you care? You know what I mean? Like,
back then at the
Yeah.
time, I tell myself I didn't care, you know what I'm saying? But it was one of those,
yeah.
it was one of those, I care, I don't care, fuck that nigga, blah, blah, blah. It was a point you could have asked me if I care if my pops died, I would have told you nah. I don't give a fuck.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So it was that real. So I'm telling y'all that it was at that level. So I think that there's many, I don't think that there's many reasons that people shouldn't be trying to repair or bond with their parents more. There's a few reasons, but I don't think there's many. If you identify that your father or your parents love you for real, and you know that, and you know you love them, there should be every effort made to come closer as a family at all times.
And for people who are saying, I feel you, I love my parents, but I'm an adult, I'm living my own life. Like, you know, I appreciate them for what they've done. Like, what makes you really want to build those relationships now outside of, you mentioned like some of your friends maybe experienced losing that parent, but you seem really passionate about, like, if you have your parents, you should be building with them.
Yeah, for sure. It's, you know what I mean? Cause it's like you don't want, I often think about when they leave, you know what I'm saying? I think about that. I think about when they're not here, how I'm gonna feel. You know what I'm saying? At this point, right now where I'm at, I know that if my parents go at any time, I could be completely satisfied, completely at peace. You know what I'm saying? I never want to have, but it's something that's going to happen. I think every time somebody, that's always, the life is short, and people keep their voicemails of their parents and all these things, boy. It's like, but we make so much effort to do all this other shit, boy. I see people run their followers up, get 20,000 followers. I see people get the job they want. I see people get the girl they want. I see people do this. Why that kind of effort not being put into a better relationship with your mom and your dad? You know what I'm saying?
So, question for you, and I'm gonna definitely, get into my relationship with my pops and both of my parents, but because I hang around you a lot, we have these type of conversations. I know that you are not afraid to die. You don't have any fear of death for your personal death, but I also know that you're afraid for your parents to die unexpectedly. Why is there that difference?
It's just it's something I haven't experienced yet. I've been very I guess fortunate in a way to not have had many people or have anybody really close to me die. So because I don't have a big family, I don't have uncles and aunts and grandparents and all of that nobody has really been close to me die. So I got this tight knit small 3-person family.
You four.
Yeah, exactly, just us four, like nipping them. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like losing one is just like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Like that shit would impact me for real. And they always just been there, so it's like I'm used to them being there. I could feel that absence being gone will be a thing, and especially if it's not, it's just not right, you know what I'm saying? I have those thoughts of anytime my mom leave or anything, like, damn, what if that's the last time, you know what I'm saying? So shit get real, but just to kind of even give, you know what I mean, a little bit of background, like I'll give an example, or not just a short story of just me and my pops relationship. So it'll probably start, and you got a son too, so I'm sure you'll get to the point with your son where your son start becoming a man, you know what I'm saying? There's a point where your dad, you told a story, your dad whooping on you, you know what I'm saying? I used to get beat with the belt too when I act up and shit, you know what I'm saying? And I get to an age where I know when he going to get the belt, I run out the house, you know what I'm saying? And then I get to the age where I'm getting tall quick, you know what I mean? So eventually it's come like, I ain't going for none of this shit. I'm going to catch the belt, you know what I'm saying? And now you can't do that, so what are you going to do to discipline me? I'm running around. I was disrespectful, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking crazy, and I'm feeling like the man of the house, so I'm challenging this man, you know what I'm saying? So eventually we start getting physical and start fighting and hurting each other, and I was kind of I was just in the house on some, fuck this nigga, he's a bum-ass nigga, I don't respect this nigga, I'm going to my mom on some...
That's what I want to dive into because, first of all, I think it may be, I hope it's not, but they portray it as rare for two black men to have a podcast and for both of us to be from two-parent households. Well, I mean, my parents were divorced, but both of them were in my life.
Yeah.
But the way you talk about your relationship with your dad, it sounds like there's some stuff before you get to the point where you fighting your dad, there's a lack of respect that comes there. So can you talk about like how you saw your dad or how you misunderstood your dad?
Yeah, I viewed him as, I would, my mama's boy, you know what I'm saying, at heart. Like, my mom is my bond right there. We always together. So any type of argument I would hear them have, I hear my dad yelling, I'm coming to her aid no matter what it's about, you know what I'm saying? But as a grown man, what, have I never yelled at a woman? You know what I'm saying? I'm coming between another man and his woman.
Right.
And I'm just, nah, what's up? I'm standing here. You ain't about to say shit to mom about nothing, you know what I mean? So there was that. I used to look at him, my dad Caribbean from the island. So you know anything about Caribbean island, I would they not hard workers. They lax, they enjoy life. You know what I'm saying? Their focus is on life. So I would look at my dad I would judge him on the financial aspect.
I mean, there's a lot of Caribbeans gonna be coming at you hot on that one, but yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Or I won't say hardworking in the American sense. You know, I don't see a lot of the Caribbean culture is not.
They say the Jamaicans got 7 jobs at a time.
Do they for real?
Yeah, that's one of the stereotypes.
Okay, word. Well, from what I've seen in my experience, but nonetheless, I judge him from a financial perspective. I see my mom go to work and do all this, and I don't see him do these things. You know what I'm saying? And I'm getting caught up in the if you don't work and have a bunch of money, you ain't shit. You know what I'm saying?
Word.
So I'm over here telling.
So you got that standard on him, like a different cultural standard. Okay.
Exactly. He's not. He was more strict than my mom. He would be the one to discipline me. He'd be the one to beat me. So there'd be resentment from that. He would be the one to yell at me. He'd be, you know what I mean?
But it seemed like the discipline thing is like that's every kid is going through. But it feel like when you come to challenge him, that feels like it's stemming from I don't respect you because you're not the man of the house because you're not even bringing no bacon home, and also like you challenging my mom, and that's
yeah. That was the stance I took, and then from him is you a disrespectful ass kid. You not learn. You talking to me crazy in my house. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like he ain't bringing no money in type shit. My pops was the breadwinner at one point. Eventually fell off on that, and I would use that as an argument for argument's sake. You know what I'm saying? So I'm running around disrespect, cursing at him, putting him down in front of I got 5, 6 friends over the house, and I'm talking to him crazy in front of friends, so I could just imagine.
So you was a white kid, basically. That's what I'm hearing.
Like, but I got to a point where it's like, yo, I felt like I'm the man in here. I'm the biggest one up in here. Like, what you gonna do? Like, do you want to get in a tussle with me every day? You might want to discipline me, but it's gonna be a fight. You know what I'm saying? So do you want that? You getting older as I'm getting more into my peak.
Or you coming out your prime as I'm entering mine.
Getting into mine, you know what I'm saying? And then and he's expressed that to me on where he said he felt scared of me at a point, you know what I'm saying? He felt scared of me and me just putting him down, lowering his self-esteem, things like that, to where it built a lot, you know what I'm saying? To where every time it would be, and he not backing down from me. So what's up? You want to do something? Let's do it. Like,
and your pops is a trained martial artist and all type of shit. So you know he not.
Word, exactly right. It wasn't nothing, and I'm sure, and obviously when I look back now, what made me look back on these things? Oh, I'm doing all this while This a grown man going through his own struggles that I
Word.
know nothing about. I'm not
Word.
asking about his struggles. This a grown man. Well, if he is down financially, then how the fuck that feel to hear your kid say that in front of your woman? Why? You know what I'm saying? How disrespectful is that? And then I know
I
my
don't think
pop.
people really realize, like, then that goes to what I said in the beginning. Your parents are people.
Mm-hmm.
They have the same insecurities, the same fears. Like when you're a kid, you idolize your parents, especially if they're
Like
around.
superhero, like they
Yeah,
got
like
some
you don't.
body armor on
Yeah,
them. Like,
they know everything. They
mm-hmm.
provide everything, so they have to be these special super people.
Right.
And you can't fathom that they can't do something for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, or they
Or
couldn't
they're not
provide
perfect.
something, or
Yeah,
they're not
they're
perfect.
not perfect. Yeah.
And so when you're challenging them, like, you're supposed to be X, like I have this ideal of you and you're not living up to that, versus like what you said, no, you're a human being who would hit a dark point, a rough patch, a financially whatever. You probably have disappointed yourself more than you even disappointed me as a kid.
Mm.
And I'm rubbing it in because I know I don't know no better.
Yeah, and that's me as a kid, but that's also coming because I had there was a point, and not to harp on constantly talking about being locked up or anything, but the first time that I had got locked up at age 13, I remember coming home and my pop's first words was, "Don't speak to me." You know what I'm saying? So,
Word.
And right there, I can feel, I've talked to him about this, that I could feel that was the moment I needed my pops the most. And I felt like right there, it felt like he didn't care about me. So that's how I took it. Like I was with that chip on my shoulder. My pops don't care about me. So from that moment on, I was like, fuck that nigga. You know what I'm saying? He ain't talked to me for like 2 months. And that's, I would consider a flaw on his end or a mistake on his end. But then I got to deep dive into that. This is a man that I gotta look back where he learned to love at, where he learned to parent at, where the book on parenting at. You know what I'm saying?
It's mad books, but ain't none of them telling you what you need.
You know what I'm saying? So
the best parenting book to me is All About Love by Bell Hooks. Because it's about people, it's about love, it's about actually understanding what that is. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like when my homie was when his wife was pregnant, I'm like, this is the only parenting book to me. Like,
word. Because I mean that's really all it is. You know what I'm saying? But then once I obviously, I hear the stories, but once I really get to know the man, he come from a Haitian immigrant that comes to the U.S., New York City, with 3 older siblings. He the youngest, with a single mom. Where he get love at? His siblings don't show him no love. They don't speak to him. They don't reach out to him. His mom don't show him no love. Now he in his household, his kids don't show him no love, and then my mom is having arguments and battles because of the kid situation, all types of shit. So where is this man getting any type of love from that I'm expecting to get poured back into me? Where is he learning how to nurture and love a child that's being like, you know what I'm saying? I got to realize I'm the bozo on that. I'm expecting what from what? That's crazy, you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, it's a fact.
That's a crazy expectation to even have and put on somebody, so.
And that's a similar thing with my mom. I had to realize my mom's journey, my mom's story, right? Like my mom, I was never really close with my mom.
Right.
I shouldn't say never. When I was, I hear stories when I was super young, like 5 and under, we'd be riding the bus around all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously everybody has some closeness with their mom, and I've always had some closeness, but me and my pops been best friends. You know what I'm saying? Me and my pops been kicking it, chilling, whatever. But me and my mom never really feel like we had a shared language or interests or whatever. But I also realized I was holding resentment against her for a bunch of shit. And when I look at it, my mom's dad was addicted to gambling. Was constantly out the house, doing whatever. My mom's mom is a paranoid schizophrenic. And there's been points where she had to go live with other family members and all this stuff.
Her parents is a gambler and a schizophrenic.
Bruh,
and the product is her.
Where did she learn love at? You know what I'm saying?
Where you receive it, where you get it.
I was recently, my mom had to admit her mom into the psych ward at one point.
Word.
And her mom told her, like, when I get out of here, I'm a kid, don't ever be around. You know what I'm saying? Like, all that type of shit you go through and whatever, and then you come out and you're supposed to, like you say, what's the book on?
Yeah, be the perfect parent.
As you know, at that time, Like, you were seen as crazy if you went to therapy.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, I'm not crazy. I'm not. How are you processing that? How are you understanding what's even triggering you to even understand, how to parent? Because that's what really, the thing about parenting is being calm with your own triggers and healing what's going on within you so that you're not taking it out on your child. But you have somebody within the home, especially at a young age, who is powerless to your wrath. You know what I mean? Whatever trigger it is. So if you trigger insecurity around financial stability, the wrath is whatever it could be. If you trigger something where they don't feel safe or something their parents did to them, whatever, if they feel like I would, always complain about why do we have this or why are we eating this or why I get these clothes. It's like, well, then that's an insecurity in itself. They want to provide you more. You know what I mean? But yeah, just to your point though, looking at my mom's background and family dynamic, she didn't know how to love me in a way.
Your expectations have to be set of what am I actually expecting? I'm expecting a perfect parent out of this? How?
Bruh.
How is that even remotely possible, bro?
Bruh. And what is a perfect parent?
What's a perfect parent? You know what I'm saying? Like it's so many mistakes, man, and we all just learning. It's year by year by year. We ain't nothing but grown adult kids, bro. Like shit just go year by year by year. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they trying their best, and even if they not trying their best, ask yourself, what's they really? This is my mom. You gotta ask. Your mama love you, right? So you know your mama love you. There's a way to make the relationship work. You know what I'm saying?
And I also think like it's interesting to like use the word love, right? I'm not saying my parents don't love me, but I also think, how are we defining love? Because I think how they understood love was a misunderstanding or miseducation, to use the Lauryn Hill, about like what actually is love. You know what I mean? And so I think, especially as Black folks, especially in the States or even Haiti, wherever, you know what I'm saying? Like if you have a history of being oppressed, enslaved, whatever, you have a warped understanding of love. You know what I mean? Like that whole thing of I'm beating you, but it's out of love.
I don't know.
Like the idea, even that book, Bell Hooks' book I just mentioned, there's a chapter where she talks about love and abuse could never coexist. Shit blew my mind. The entire time I've been sold this idea that I was abused out of love. And just to even, you can agree with or disagree, but even to think of the concept, what if love and abuse could never coexist and my family cared about me, but they didn't love me, not because they didn't want to, because they had no concept of even what love is.
Yeah, no concept.
You know what I mean? It's like, and it's not on them.
It's not on them. It's on whoever comes to them, bro. His ego gets in the way. His pride gets, bro. I have talks with so many people who have these rifts with their parents, bro. There are these barriers and these walls with their parents. And I was in that same cycle, y'all. Count myself. I'm literally bumping my head into a wall by we getting in the same type arguments, you know what I'm saying? Like you say this, if you say anything this way, you yell at I'm coming at it the same way and it's gonna be that clash. I tell, what if one day he yelling at my mom and I just give him a hug? You know what I'm saying?
Yo.
What if I just extend my arms and give him a hug instead of barking on the nigga for yelling at my mom? I bet he embrace it. I bet he almost cry if I do that, you know what I'm saying?
Yo, it's a book called Say What You Mean. I forget the subtitle, but it's about nonviolent communication. And it talks about how if you learn to hear everything anybody says as an unmet need, then it just frames everything in a completely different way. So it's like
Let's say that one more time.
If you hear everything someone says, particularly like an emotionally triggered statement, you hear it all in the framework of what is their unmet need versus like how are they delivering it, whatever. But what is their unmet need? So why your pops is not yelling for no reason. Right. And that unmet need, as you just mentioned, is probably being loved. He's been shunned by his family, coming over here, whatever. He's a black sheep of his like immediate family, from his siblings, his mom. He's not receiving love from his kids or whatever. So probably that unmet need is to feel seen, to be accepted, to be loved. And if you gave him that hug in that moment, that would have been hearing him more than whatever the volume of how he was yelling. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's a fact, bro. And so to even like the cover art that we gonna use, that we using for this episode, like that was one of the turning points in my mind, to where that was an incident where he beat me. He hit me with a weapon. You know what I'm saying? I had a huge knot on my head. You could see that on the IG, and then I beat him up in retaliation, you know what I'm saying? To the point where he had to go to the hospital for like some eye surgery type shit, and he got arrested. His mugshot with him, and I have that picture on my phone with a mugshot of him with an eye shut that you can't even see, you know what I'm saying? And I would periodically look at that, and how it made me feel tells me that I'm not living right, or I'm not feeling right about this. I don't get no satisfaction from this. I don't feel good after I did it. I don't feel good now. And I don't even care about my pain. I'm looking at that shit and I feel sad, and I felt like it really made me feel like a monster, you know what I'm saying? So I had to I'm looking at that, if this thing is making me feel like that, I love my pop, you know what I'm saying? I gotta make this right. So that was like really a big moment for me on it. Like, yo, I gotta change this shit. You know, we had to talk in LA,
Yeah.
up on the roof, and I'm telling you, like, yo, I want to repair this shit. It's before we even start talking, you know what I'm saying? I want to repair this. I want to,
Yeah, because when I met you,
yeah, I wasn't talking
it was
to my
still fuck
pop.
that nigga.
Yeah, it
Talking
was
about
that,
your
yeah,
pop, yeah.
it was that, and I could have just carried it as that. I know people that have carried something like that for 15, 20 years, you know what I'm saying? I've watched his family operate like that with him, where they just refuse to speak, you know what I'm saying? And much as he tried, they just not going to do it, and it's just like, this is senseless to me, dog. Like, my house, after that incident, was chaotic. My mama crying, my brother crying. Yo, my dad come down the house with a shotgun, and he threatened to, hey, if y'all don't care about me, I'll kill myself right here in front of us. So my brother crying, my mom crying, I'm crying. Police in the house. What the fuck is we doing? Tripping.
Yeah. Wow.
We tripping. It's not love. This not how we supposed to be moving as a family. I gotta rid all this shit, examine it, look at what I need to do, and change this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so that incident happens that you just described.
Mm-hmm.
Your pops comes in with a shotgun. Everybody in the family's crying. The police are there. And how long after that did you realize this is crazy?
Probably after, like, I'd say it took me probably maybe like 2 years to fully come around to. Because I always, if you call the police on me, I'm viewing that as a threat on my life almost. You know what I'm saying? So it was always, if you ever call the police on me, it's fuck you for
So
life.
you let your ego rock for 2 years.
Yeah, let my ego. And then I had my mom will kind of, you know what I'm saying? Kind of like, hey, you should speak to, nah, fuck that nigga. You know what I'm saying? And
So there's the 2 years that you let your ego rock, and then what happened for the other 2 years?
I decided I don't want that to be. I spent a lot of time, like I said, I spent a lot of time with myself. So it was really me. I ain't angry no more. Like I said, looking at them pictures, why this picture making me sad? Why I cry when I look at this picture of my dad, what I did to him. Why am I feeling like that? And I would just think about him, and I would think about, it ain't like, obviously I'm giving all these stories as my pops, yeah, but my pops hoop with us. My pops a cool ass nigga, you know what I'm saying? So I think about all these times
Verified facts.
yeah.
Pops
Word.
cool as shit. I don't know what he talking about.
He been cool with all my homies, all my niggas tell you
World
same
traveler.
shit. Yeah, word. Pops is an ill ass nigga, you know what I'm saying? And I had to think back on those moments, and he also had said something to me, well, not within those 2 years, but he said something to me fairly recently that resonated, and I was like, yo, you only know me. I'm scared to open up to you guys. I'm scared to be vulnerable, because every time I have, you guys have done nothing but put me down, shame me. You beat me up. You've made me scared to come out. You never even took the time to understand me as a human being. You only know me as your mom's husband, and how mom paints me, and how you paint me as a father. But who, it was 30 some years before you ever came into the picture. Who was that man? To think about your kid not even caring enough to ask you about that shit, gotta be crazy. I mean, I don't even care about you as a man. You just dad, and you just here, and I ask you if I need some shit like that. But who are you as a man? How did you become to be as a man? I need to find these things out and embrace it and love you like that.
So do you feel like you fully forgiven him?
1,000%.
1,000%.
1,000%. I've forgiven him. I've taken time to understand him, and yeah, no, 1,000%, man. Forgive him. There's no ill will. I was shit more so than that. I hope he forgive me. You know what I'm saying? But I think he has. But it's just fam shit, boy. It's like this real life shit. He going through his shit. I'm going through my shit. We both not taking the time to sit there and understand one another. We both going through our own problems and we clashing when shit get heated and it carry on. But I take the time to, you know what I'm saying? I was sitting there waiting for over those years. I'm waiting for an apology. Nah, that nigga got to say sorry if I'm gonna speak to him. Now he got what I'm waiting on that for.
Word.
What I need him to say sorry for. Why do I need what do I need an apology for? What is that really about? And if he don't say sorry, I'm just gonna let it rock out till he die and then be living with that on my soul. Like that's crazy. I don't need a sorry. I don't need a acknowledgement of your behavior. I don't need any of that. Fuck this. I'm gonna end this shit right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's something that so many people need to do, bro. There's even people that have decent relationships with their parents, I don't feel that they are fulfilled to the point where they should be. These are your people, bro. You came out these people. You grew up with these people. There's a bond there that's unmatched, bro. And that needs to be more focused on. My entrepreneur homie, shout out Ani, you know what I'm saying? I ran
Arnie, what
into
up?
him. After, I don't know, we see each other sporadically, nigga busy, you know what I'm saying? So, and I seen him, he just like, bro, he like, yo, long time, blah, blah. What you been up to? You know what I'm saying? He said, matter of fact, nah, I seen what you been up to. You know what I'm saying? You been quiet lately, but I seen what you been up to and you've been working on shit with your parents. And I didn't even realize like, oh shit, I have been up to that. Like I've actually, it take effort. It take a direction, to take a focus of like, nah, this what I'm locking in on. My family shit about to get straight. And now, you know what I'm saying? Like,
What do you feel like has been the reward on the other side of that labor?
the rewards have been the fruits. These shits keep going. You know what I'm saying? Just keep going. But I mean, it's been beautiful to see, bro. It's been more love. I feel at ease with me. I feel the love. I get crazy love back from him. I get he's sitting there to shake my hand or hug me and say, you know what I'm saying, thank you for doing this, and tell me how much he love us. And I see how my mom and his relationship has improved from it. I'm not gonna sit here and credit my doing to all of this, but I'm sure it's a contributing factor with that stress out the way of your son not speaking to your husband and all this kind of shit. Now my mom and dad seem more affectionate and more in love than I've seen them in years. I see my brother taking my parents on once in a lifetime trips to Machu Picchu, and we spending Christmases together, and we doing photo shoots together, and we going to comedy shows together, and everybody just happy now. It's much peace, and I would love for everybody to get there. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think it's just that's the goal, bro. It's just been the most fulfilling experience for me by far. You know what I'm saying? But it's a process that I'm gonna keep going too. I ain't got nothing but the most. It's pretty much nothing these niggas can do now that will even give me like, nah, I'm mad at pops or some shit like that. Like, it had to be some crazy shit. I ain't got nothing but love to get these niggas, dog. That's it. Till they rock out.
And do you feel like, because I know there's probably a lot of people who feel misunderstood by their parents, who feel judged by their parents, who feel
Do you feel any of that?
unwanted or unvalued by their parents. Well, let me finish my
Oh, my
question.
bad.
Did you have to do any work with your parents to feel like, was there a reciprocal thing that they had to do to accept you more? Because obviously you had to accept your pops.
Right. Nah, not with me, just because of the way I present myself. I'm kind of just like unapologetically me. Like I've never been the kid to hide who I am. Like my mom white. I don't censor my language. I say nigga around her. You know what I'm saying? I listen to the same music around her. I wear my clothes the same way. I'm me. You know what I'm saying? I always been around that, and I feel like they've always been receptive to that. They've always accepted me. I've had pushback on some things, but no matter what, it's never been no lack of love or understanding for who I am. I've always felt that from them. You know what I'm saying? I got my mom house raided twice. My mom ain't never threatened to even once mention kicking me out or mention me living somewhere else. You here. That's what it is. That's what you doing. We rocking with you. So I've never had to, I don't think I've ever had to garner their acceptance on my end. But for those people that do deal with that, I would think that it's just a conversation. It's just simply opening up to what this is. And if it don't work this way, bro, like people think that, yo, you have these conversations and maybe you say something and your mom don't take it away, you gay or something, and you come out to your mom or dad and they don't accept it in this way. That there's other methods to trying. There's different avenues to trying. There's
I'm not saying there's not, but obviously, like, I just have a family member run away based on their mom's lack of acceptance of them. They're still, an adolescent.
How old?
16, I think.
Okay. That's that age where it's like, where they, even I'm trying to explain it as like, you 16, yo, no shit.
Word, and it's like, a lot of people in the family, accept it. Some people don't, whatever they're going through. But I think people have a lot. I mentioned that example because I know some people have a deep history of feeling unaccepted, unloved, unappreciated for who they are. And yeah, that simple conversation is not a simple conversation. And that's something that's been tried or other avenues have been tried. So I guess I'm just building space in the room for people who desire a better relationship with their parents in their heart of hearts or any family, but don't feel like they can get there or don't feel like that's the most important thing to them because of that. And I didn't know if there was any maybe advice you have, maybe, outside of a conversation in order, but I think you did give some advice, which is like, the more you accept yourself, the more other people have to accept it. And I think a lot of people, because they're in turmoil around who they are, their identity, whatever, I think when I say identity now, that's like a gender and identity conversation. But it doesn't have to be that it doesn't have to be anything about sexuality. It doesn't have to be that gender. It just be parts of you. My parents used to shame me for the music that I listened to. You know what I mean? Like, it could be simple as you feel censored when you're around your family.
Right.
But the more that you start to show up as authentically, unapologetically yourself, the more that it actually resonates with people. And it's not that you have to convince them. It's that they see you moving in a different way, showing up in that different way, and not hiding it. And they say, at least I'm curious about that.
Right.
I want to find out more about why you feel so convicted that this is the path for you.
Yeah, why are you so threatened?
But if you're not convicted in it, if you turn it off when you walk into your family house, then it feels to them as something that must not be as strong or must not be as a part of your identity if you could take it off and put it on.
Right. Like you faking it.
Yeah.
Like you faking it, or this is the act you put on for your friends and all this kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? So, but I mean that shit. That's a tough battle, because I know those parents that just they won't accept this, or they won't. You can't dare do that. But can you though? But can you? I think that a lot of it is rooted in fear, and there might be the initial. Now, I obviously can't speak on every situation, but I know, like, I grew up around a lot of foreign families. Like, in the DMV's mad foreign families. So those like Pakistani household, them African parents, very strict. They don't want you to get your ears pierced. They don't want you wearing clothes like this. But I've also seen when they kids do that shit. Like, yo, if your mom don't, if I come home with a tattoo, my mom going blah blah blah. But so what if you get tattooed? What is your mom really gonna do? She gonna kick you out and you fend for yourself?
But you say it like it's crazy, but I know people been kicked out the house and fend for themselves.
Okay, so then if that's occurring, would you say that their parent loves them?
I didn't say that.
No, I'm saying, but would you say that though? Like, because I'm thinking a big factor in this is identifying.
But we just talked about forgiving people for not even knowing how to love. So I'm not even saying, not taking for granted love is there or it's a prerequisite to be a parent. But it doesn't mean that I don't want my parents to love me if they don't. It doesn't mean that I don't want acceptance from the person that I came out of. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, I could see that though, and I've seen that where a parent refusing to accept. In those instances, it's kind of like, yo, I would just say you make periodic attempts in different conversations to talk, but at the end of the day, if niggas is refusing to accept you, no matter who it is, you can only but live your life and keep it pushing. But I would still.
But I think the other thing too, live your life and keep it pushing, but that you can't hold that resentment.
Yeah, no
like,
resentment.
You have to. Resentment is killing people, bro. Stressing people out. You have to be able to, and I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying you have to as if like it's a lightweight imperative, but you have to be able to forgive, first of all, yourself, because a lot of people have self-inflicted trauma or this belief that something's wrong with them, and so they build this cycle of, I did this wrong and that's why they won't speak to me or whatever. Like, you have to forgive yourself because you've done nothing wrong. You have to forgive your parents because at the end of the day, their rationale, their reasoning is probably deep-rooted in some trauma tied to identity that they received from their parents or grandparents in some way that they felt shamed for being different and don't want you to experience that, or aren't ready to experience that themselves and are going to feel the sort of vicarious shame as your parent. I know a lot of foreign families, like, you could be the black sheep of wherever you're from or wherever you worship or whatever. If your kid gets that tattoo, now I can't go into this temple and with my head held high because I don't even lead my children in the way of the, you know what I mean? Like, all that stuff is factors in, but that's their own thing. And something happened to them in their past that makes them so tied to that they can't see you. But let them, like you say, let go, but also forgive, because that's the only way you'll ever be at peace. You know what I mean?
And they'll feel that when you forgive. They feel when there's the resentment, and then where it's just like, all right, bro, you gonna be mad. Mad. I'm not mad at you though. All right,
that forgiveness
I ain't mad at
is the like, they feel that almost like that hug you talked about giving your dad in the middle of his yelling.
Because if I know you mad at me, I got that attention with you. All right, I could be mad. But I'm not gonna want to fight a nigga that don't want to fight me. You know what I'm saying? No fun being a dead horse. Like, yo, if you not mad at me, all right, whatever. So those people, I would hope, and that's unfortunate, man. But I want to talk to those parents too. But I mean, some of them might be too far gone, too far stuck in their ways, or dealing with a bunch of other shit to where that's not there. But a lot of those parents, I've always thought that kicking your kid out in any fashion or like, your kid is nothing but a product of you. It's nothing but a product of you. You know what I'm saying? That you may be hard to face at times, but that's your child, bro.
I've talked about a couple episodes ago, like, a true friend is a uncomfortable thing to have because it's a reflection of you. I know firsthand, your child is a reflection of you, good and bad.
All that.
And it makes you look in the mirror like, wow, this is who I am. From what I think, how I react in times of stress or whatever, that's being passed along. And being noticed and literally said back to you. Like, who taught this kid? Oh yeah, that was me.
Is there anything your son said to you on some, like, where you really had to check yourself on the shit? Like, oh, I'm tripping. I'm bringing some shit in that I really actually didn't agree with or don't necessarily, I didn't take heed to when I was a kid, and now you putting it on your son?
Not that he said to me, but, or not recently. Not, I remember having that moment, but nothing I could think of right now. But there is just the idea of discipline is a big one. Where I remember being beat as a 3-year-old.
Word.
Then I saw what a 3-year-old looks like. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? How?
Word.
For lying.
Yeah.
Like, for lying, I was 3. I wasn't like,
yeah, no
malicious. What is the harm?
Yeah, like, bro, I'm 3. My nigga, I've been out this earth for what? 900 days?
Yeah, it's crazy. I remember being 5 to like 8. Yeah, I want to say 5 to 8. But particularly, I remember in like 1st and 2nd grade, so like 6 and 7. I had this, like, basically like a bladder problem where, like, during the day, like, I'll go to the bathroom and then I have a drip, right? And my pops would just be like, yo, what the fuck, you peeing on yourself? And I'm like,
Yeah.
no. No, I'm not. I come home and be like, let me check your underwear. You peed on yourself?
Yeah.
Because you doing the laundry. Like, what's going on? And I'm like,
Word.
did you pee on yourself today? No.
Mm.
Then he looks like, you lied. Now you're going to beat me.
Mm.
You going to whoop me. I'm 6 or 7 years old with a belt whooping me. And I'm like,
Word.
So then he come in like the next day. It went on for a while where he was, every day I'll say no. He'll beat me.
Mm.
Then I come in one day. He's like, did you pee on yourself? And I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Like, well, at least you told the truth today.
Word.
No beating. Next day I come, did you pee on yourself? Yes. Still getting beat. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit?
Now what? You have a confused understanding of everything at that point.
Bro, it's so crazy. But it's those type of things where I look back and I'm like, man, how did my dad must have grew up crazy.
Mm.
He's the calm down version of whatever he got, and he was the baby of his family.
Word. And your pops was probably born, what, 50s, 60s?
60s.
Yeah, 60s. So his parents born in the 20s and 30s. Like, these generations ain't far removed from...
No, it's funny, my dad is the youngest, and my grandma had him when she was 24, and he's one of 4, so she was kicking him out.
So what's the math? What's the math?
Meaning, like, she was 24 years old. She was born in the 40s. You say she was born in the 20s, 30s. So, like, he had three siblings older than him. Then she took some time and then had him, and she had him at 24. He the baby. You know what I'm saying? So, like, she was having him young, which is part of the reason, right? Like, when you have children young, you still, as grown as you are, and believe me, they were much more grown than whoever's listening at 24.
Yeah. We're more grown in some ways.
They were much more mature. They were much more thoughtful about their decisions because it mattered more, because there was expectation for you to have your own. My uncle bought his first house at 22.
Yeah. You had a family.
He was thinking, thinking about stuff in a different way. But at the same time, you haven't learned yourself enough to be comfortable with yourself. So when somebody challenges you, you feel threatened by being seen still at that age, right? Like, you're still developing into yourself. So when you have a kid and they reflect you, it's still a trigger to you. At my age now, when my kid reflects me, it's not as much of a trigger because I've taken some time to be with myself, to know who I am, to understand why those things trigger me. You know what I mean? It's a whole different experience. My pops had me when he was 21. He was a mature 21-year-old, but he was 21.
21-year-old.
So there's a lot. And I talked to him about this recently. He actually wrote me a letter when I was 18. And it was just kind of like, I'm sorry. I didn't know what I was doing. I did the best that I could. I know I fucked up on some stuff. Hopefully you still felt the love, because I love you very deeply. But I was wanting you to be a certain way. I had a vision for who I wanted you to be. I was trying to fit you into this mold, and I didn't know what to do. So sometimes I use physical force, but you know what I mean? Like, that's the way he carried it. But when I look at my son, I'm aware of that because I took that time with myself to figure out why my parents, you know what I mean? Like, why my parents did what they did and how that affected me. So yeah, it's definitely fun having that reflection.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you something on the flip side, on the like good side of like having that, seeing yourself reflected in your kid. My son was talking about death a lot, just like he's sick, so it's just like
a crazy concept. Like,
but not even that. He's just like being a kid, like everything is butts and like whatever's like. I'll just be, I'm not completing my sentence, and he completes it for me with, and then they died, it's more, and I'm like, we shouldn't talk about that as much, or I don't want to call, dead energy into our world as much as we are. Like, let's talk about stuff that brings life. And I told him that's why I told him my Instagram name used to be Heno Must Die, and then I turned it to Brendon Lives because I'm trying to attract that energy. And so anyway, later that week, we're listening to Bob Marley, and Three Little Birds comes on, and then No Woman, No Cry comes on like a little bit later. And he goes, "Damn, Bob Marley has a lot of songs about not worrying at all." And he's like, "That's great, because that's the kind of energy you want to attract in your life." And I'm like, okay,
yeah.
you see the reflection, you know what I mean? Like, being reflected is not always a bad thing.
Not always a bad thing.
You know what I mean?
Very much
So,
like the reflection that you put out there, and that's the thing is a lot of people don't like their reflection, bro.
Yeah, 100%.
They taking it out on these kids and parents, like you Pop said, expectations.
Yeah.
Parents, a lot of, especially the immigrant parents, got the image perception. They don't want to be embarrassed. They don't want to look bad to this family.
Man, the image perception is real. The image perception is very real,
Yeah,
especially when it comes to like maintaining the religion, the culture, maintaining like, you know, a lot of people I know, you know, Hindu people who won't marry Muslim people. You know what I mean? Like that kind of tribalism is very real. And you come to America, that's a melting pot. Everything that your kid does is a threat to your values, possibly. You know, I'm sitting in a public school in America. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah, word.
So yes, it's an interesting thing that America has no distinct culture, but we strip everybody of theirs when they get here.
Yeah.
So it's like, what are we?
Bro, it's a wild spot where you.
I shouldn't say we have no distinct culture. I think hip hop is a great example of like a distinctly American culture, but it's created. I shouldn't say created. It's perpetuated by people who have historically been stripped from their culture. Yeah. You know what I mean? So they
created some new shit.
Yeah, they created some new shit for sure. But it's a young culture. I should say America's a very young culture, comparatively speaking, to a lot of stuff around the world.
There's not a lot of homegrown foundation. There's no foundation. It was stripped of everything and then created some new shit. But that's always one thing too. Where I really always shout out to my mom, because I know many of families where I'd have been shunned out the family. You know what I'm saying? I just think it'll graduate from high school.
I think it's a factor of your parents being immigrants that you weren't shunned out your family.
For sure. For sure. Them being two immigrants from and both of those places that they from are not like those big it's not an India or like a big developed or tapped in with religion. Like they're not big on religion over there. It's not that type of culture, you know what I'm saying? So them coming together there's no heavy ideals pushed on me. There's no my mom and
they
dad,
let you be like the first American. So you fucked it up. Like, okay,
I'm the first American out this bitch. You know what I'm saying? So it's like anything what it was. But I remember a girl used to always see my mom. She would pop up at her job. Like I think my mom used to do like some deliveries to her job or something like that, or some along those lines. But she would. Like, man, every time your mom speak about you, it's always the best. Like, she don't even know half the shit, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, but little do you know, she do know. But she also know the real me. Yeah. So she speak about me in that way. She don't put these sick labels y'all trying to put on me. And my mom never lied to her friends about me. And like, I'm sure she probably felt embarrassed or ashamed that she probably felt as a parent in parts of my life. But I thought I was always just fired that ain't no shame in it. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's my son, and let shit play out though. That shit is felt, bro. That's why I don't crave "I love you" from my mom, because she just showed me all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like I could feel that shit for real. You know what I'm saying? So
that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's just something.
I think this is probably a good place to end in episode 1. We've been rapping for like good 45.
Yeah, word. Shit.
So, you know, we'll come back next time, check episode 2. We'll get in probably more of my history with my family. Do the fit check. We haven't done the fit check yet.
We ain't done the fit check.
And check us out part 2.
Stay less.
Stay dangerous.
Stay dangerous.